and welcome to Finextra TV. I'm Hannah Wallace and we're here at Money 2020 Europe. Kindly joining me now in the press lounge is Santosh Tripathy and Pritesh Kotecha from SmartStream. Hello gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me. So yes, there's a lot of discussion at Money 2020 about transformation and what banks need to do to stay competitive. So from your point of view, what do you think is the best approach to innovation?
It's a very good question. So to be honest, Anna, at the moment, we're at a real pivotal point in the industry. So yesterday there was a survey in the first session where the banks were asked what is the most important thing to succeed digitally, and 52%, which is a massive number, said it's the customer experience. And I think banks have come to realize that digital is not a product or a service, it's a way of doing business. And if we take the old adage that there's only three competitive drivers, product innovation, client intimacy, and operational excellence, because of the speed of change, the banks have to focus on the innovation and the client experience. If they don't focus on that, they will be left behind by the new age players.
Santosh, is there anything you'd like to add there?
Right, and very rightly said, it's about customer experience, so the innovations has to be driven by solving problems and customer experience. Innovations, because everyone is doing, would not help. It has to be goal-oriented, and the goal is customer experience.
All right, following on from that quite nicely then, what do you think are the sort of biggest challenges that the payments ecosystem players are facing, and what should they be taking into consideration going forward?
So in terms of challenges, we're seeing two areas. One is the speed that the new entrants are moving at, and we have to remember that banks have two inherent legacy issues. One is all banks are totally process driven, whereas the new guys are technology driven, which gives them a massive advantage. Secondly, banks spent decades and decades building the most customized products for extremely niche segments, whereas the business world today is all about experiences for the mass and personalization. So really the banks have to partner, they have absolutely no choice.
Yeah, completely agree, and the biggest challenge I would say would be the mindset. Banks are used to do business in a certain way. The challengers have changed the rules of the game, so banks have to adapt, and at the same time I believe they have to start looking this as an opportunity. For example, they might see that open banking is giving access of the customer information and the data to every participant, but at the same time it gives banks the access of customers who were never part of the ecosystem. So banking to the unbanked, which is a massive opportunity. So I would say that they need to start seeing all these challengers as their friends, because they are very good at what they do, bring them in their ecosystem, make them evolve and grow together.
All right, and finally Santosh, Pritesh, how do you think the payment space is going to evolve in say 20 years or so?
So if we look at the entire digital experience that the clients want, it has to be in-stream. If, for example, Asia is the fastest growing payments market, 29% year-on-year growth, even the physical retailers are now addressing small areas in their chain. For example, if you were to go to a shop and pick up some clothes, by the time you get to the checkout, most likely you've put some of them back. So what they're doing now is they're putting digital labels on their clothes. You scan them, when you reach the checkout, they've already got your clothes there, you've already paid for them, and you can leave the store.
It's very efficient.
So it should be very much in-stream, it should be invisible, and it should be seamless to a certain extent for the client. So the banks have to address that. If you look at, for example, the millennials, 50% of the millennials are now reaching 30, which means they're in a managerial position. If you look at their personal life, it's 2 ticks and I'm done, and it's sent as an instant message. If you look at their corporate life, they have to go through these archaic payment systems for the banks. The banks have to change to fit in with that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Completely agree to that. And to add, what I see is the whole banking, at least when it comes to payments, will become digital. So we are talking about payment disruptions, we're talking about modular banking, we're talking about smart banking, where you send very focused information to what I need. So if I use Uber, you send me details about Uber. If I like Japanese food, you send me information about Japanese food. And it has to become modular. If, for example, we need a feature in Uber, a feature in WhatsApp, in Facebook, it comes immediately. The same speed has to also come in the banking. So if I need a feature, the modular way of doing development has to come in also in the banking space. And I see it's a big space. It's definitely become seamless, frictionless, faster, and digital. So this is where we say the world is moving.
And finally, where does SmartStream fit into all of this, may I ask?
So SmartStream is traditionally, we provide operational excellence. As I said at the beginning, the banks have to focus on the intimacy and the innovation. Operations is the mundane, mechanical part of the business, but it's a financial, regulatory, and a risk. It's required. So what we're doing is we're providing a smart back office, either in our smart cloud or as a plug-in to the platform. And what the bank gets is not only very, very flexible operations, which grows and ebbs and flows with their business model, but for the first time, because we're doing it on a wholesale basis and we've got such experience, the operational systems become a system of insight. So we don't only provide O data, the operational data, we provide X data, which is experience data, which the banks can then take and build into their products and their innovation, which is, it's a game changer, it's extremely important.
Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching.